When you really that girl and like it's inside of you, you don't need the people around you to look a certain way because you just already know that y'all and girls no matter what y'all look like.
Touchdown sound.
What is up, you guys? My name is Ariane and welcome back to Darkgirlscantoo, where our focus is creating beauty inside and out. If you love beauty content, definitely go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at IAM_AELane. And if you love more introspective or lifestyle content, definitely subscribe to this channel. We would love to have you. So today we are going to be talking about friendship in the digital or social media age and how to find it as an adult. Excuse me if I'm looking up and down. I'm trying to just make sure that I follow my notes and stay on track because yeah, I love tangents. Anyway, previously I was actually going to title this video a guide to finding friendship as an adult, but I wanted to kind of dive a little bit deeper. Kind of wanted to incorporate social media because I know that that's a big part of everybody's lives. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So if you've been following my content, you know that I have recently moved to Houston, and one thing that I have found out being down here is that it can be really difficult to, make friends because normally, right, we're either in high school, college, and it's just easy to find friends because you're around so many people. So it's a lot easier to make friends, right? But when you're an adult, especially when you're in a new city and you don't really know anybody, you actually have to put effort to putting yourself out there and making friends. Especially if you are like me and you work from home, you don't really get a lot of time outside of the house. Like, you literally have to go out and be intentional about making friends. And I know like the conversation surrounding friends, especially for people my age, is normally, we're 25, like people already have their own friend groups, right? But what I found out is that it's kind of true, but kind of not, right? So since I've been here, I've met people, a few years younger than me, all the way, honestly, to about 10 years older than me. So contrary to popular belief, a lot of women, a lot of people are still looking to solidify their friend group and add people to it, or they're just looking to start all over. I've seen a lot of content on YouTube of, women specifically just talking about like finding their tribe and like maybe being a little bit unsatisfied with like the friend groups that they have. So I feel like, of course, that is one reason why, people want to find different friends. It's either that or they want to surround themselves with more like-minded people. They've outgrown their friends a little bit, or they simply moved like I have. And one thing that I've learned is that as life goes on, it's kind of inevitable that like the friends that you made in high school and the friends that you made in college, those kind of like change over time just because you guys are going in different directions, you're doing different things. And sometimes it's not necessarily like any conflict that makes you guys fall out. It's just, you just got two different things going on in your lives and it's just a part of it. So don't feel bad if, you've had, some friends for a certain amount of time and then all of a sudden you guys may lose contact. It's just a part of life. But I do want to encourage you that if you have any friendships like that have maybe kind of fallen to the wayside just because you're just, going through life, I encourage you to try and rekindle those, reach out, see how they're doing, see if you guys can like plan a time to meet up. Because one thing that I've noticed is that on social media, I see a lot of conversation about relationships and how to get a man to chase you, how to get a woman to go crazy, just all the things that we be seeing on TikTok and YouTube. What I haven't seen is people talking about like friendships. And if we're being honest, I feel like, friendships are a little bit more important, just a little bit, just because, these romantic relationships that we're in, that we're chasing, they can be a lot more temporary than our friendships. I definitely think having quality friends just adds to your life and just makes it so much more fun and that much more special. So, like I said, I don't see anybody really talking about, friendships and like the ups and downs of those. So I wanted to start the conversation in this video and the next few videos. Once again, if you're interested in this kind of content, definitely join the family, subscribe, because we're going to be having some great conversation about friendships. Okay, so first let's address the problem. right? The very first question that I want to kind of discuss, and throughout this video, I'll be throwing some questions at you. I will be giving my thoughts, and I would love for you guys to leave your thoughts in the comments. The very first question is, do people value friendship as much as they used to? And if not, why? Okay, so clearly my opinion is no, right? I have a lot of different ideas, and I can't wait to discuss them all in this video, but my short answer is no. And the reason why I feel that way is because I feel like our lives have like drastically changed over the last 15, 20 years or so. Of course, that's due to social media. I feel like back in the days, things were just a lot different. Like most of our time consisted of work, family, and friends if you made like actual effort to go out and like be with your friends, right? Now we have unlimited access to everything. Like everything is at our fingertips. All we have to do is click on the app and we have access to our friends, family, and everybody else in the world, right? And I think that that has affected the way that we interact with the people around us, aka our friends and family. Like I said, in this video, we're going to be discussing why. We're going to be breaking it down, kind of diving deep a little bit, chipping away, and figuring out like, why is that? So the second question is going to be a very big and broad question, basically the title of this video. How does social media affect our friendships? And my opinion is very extensive. I have a lot of different reasons, and actually beyond what we even talk about in this video, I have a lot of opinions. But the very first one is social media has made us very, very vain. And I'm sure you guys can understand what I mean when I say that. I think that our attention has shifted a bit, and social media has created this obsession within us to want to show off our lives in the best way possible. I want to say it's almost like a competition, but it's not almost. Like it is like a competition. A competition on like who's living the best life, who has the best content, who's living a life of luxury, who has the best aesthetic. And honestly, it creates this really unrealistic expectation of like how our lives should be, and I am victim of that. And sometimes I have to like remind myself, not sometimes, on a daily basis, I have to remind myself that like, girl, like you are not Superwoman. You can't do everything in a day just because you watched this vlog and you saw this woman get up at 6 a.m., work out, and do all these other things, create her content, edit, whatever. You work a whole full-time job, so like you don't have the luxury of time right now, you know what I mean? So when you are constantly on social media, you get into this space where you're like comparing yourself to other people, which can definitely be detrimental. That to say that I think that social media has definitely become a really big distraction, and a lot of us have just become really consumed with it. The second part of this is I feel like our values no longer lie in friendship, lies in a different currency now, which is attention and appearance. Like I said, back in the days, I feel like just based off of the conversations that I've had with my, family and friends, I think that before social media became such a huge part of our lives, we valued friendship a lot more. We now value just attention from other people. So engagement, that's likes, that's comments, that's reposts. And we value how other people see us, people that we don't even know. So much so that I think the validation of strangers has become more important than the validation of the people around us. I think we value aesthetic a whole lot, which I do not understand. When I think of like valuing aesthetic, I think of, I'll never forget the whole Erica Bakes example where she got on live and was talking about how if her friends don't look a certain way, if they don't dress a certain way, if they don't have a nice body, they can't hang out with her, which was a little off-putting to me because I'm like, what does that have to do with being a genuine friend and like actually wanting to hang around somebody? I know regardless, for me, this is just a personal preference. For me, I don't care, like what you look like and how you dress has nothing to do with how much I like you. And I would much rather be around people that I actually care about and that I like hanging around versus hanging with some Instagram baddies or some girls who, you know what I'm saying, dressed to the nines. Like, who cares about that at the end of the day? You want people who you can trust, who are honest, who are going to hold you accountable, who are going to love you and care about you. Like, who cares what they look like? I mean, it's a plus if your friend dress and look nice or whatever, but I don't think that that is what completely constitutes like a good friend. So I think also social media has warped our minds to feel really insecure and inadequate within ourselves, which is why we kind of hold our friends to this super high standard. But one thing that I do know is, and one of the first things that I thought about when I heard her like talk about it was, when you really that girl and like it's inside of you, like you don't need the people around you to look a certain way, because you just already know that y'all and girls, no matter what y'all look like, you know what I mean? So that just kind of showed me that like my generation is just a little insecure. And like I said, it's not solely their fault. It is social media. I think that because we're being fed so much content and we're seeing so many different body types and different people every single day, it's just inevitable that we're going to end up comparing ourselves to them. And then it just starts like a really detrimental domino effect, I feel. Another way that I feel like social media has affected the way we value friendship is just like, I don't know how to explain it, but like our dynamics, like our friendship dynamics, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys agree, but social media definitely affects the way that we communicate with each other. And I know I'm gonna keep bringing it up back in the day. I know it's a new time, but you know, that's the only thing that I could like compare it to. And like before social media was a thing, because I was in high school and middle school, right before social media was a thing. I'm 25, by the way. We just communicated differently. If you wanted to talk to your friend, you had to literally pick up the phone. And I just remember being in middle school and high school and just being on the phone with my friends for hours and hours and hours, whether we talking or just not talking at all, or like playing internet games or whatever. That like, if you wanted to spend time with your friends, you had to actually put in the effort. And I feel like our dynamics have changed, because when we want to, you know, interact with our friend, we just like or comment on their photo or send them a funny video or, you know, something of the sort, which is like cool on one end, because it's like you get to interact with a lot of your friends in a day, but it's also not a great tool, because then you don't actually like pick up the phone and like call and see how your friends are doing and like have actual conversation with them, right? I think that it's also affected the way that we handle like grief and conflict. Whenever we're like having a disagreement with, you know, one of our friends, not even we, because I don't do this, but I've seen a lot of people do it, like not even just famous people, but just people that are regular like me, right? Who will have a fallout with their friend, get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on Instagram, either go on live or make a status or sending, you know, subs towards a friend that might have like made them angry or whatever, instead of actually calling them, dealing with the problem, if you know what I mean. And of course, we know like working through issues within any relationship makes the relationship stronger. So it's just kind of sad to see when like, you know, somebody's going through something with their friend and the first thing that they do is just hop on social media and start talking stuff. Like, it's just weird to me. Actually, now that I bring it up, it's actually really funny. I don't know if you guys remember this, but back when, you know what I'm saying, you had a little conflict with your friend, what you did was you couldn't jump on live, you couldn't get on Facebook, you couldn't make a status or like whatever. I sound so old talking about status. You couldn't like, you know, tweet anything. What you did was, if you wanted to get the tea from your friend, pick up that phone, call a friend that you're cool with, you're not beefing with, and then you have them call the friend that you beefing with on three-way. And then they connect you to the call and they ask them some questions about whatever happened, just so you can hear how they really feel. I was just thinking about that and how that was just so petty and how it's kind of like the equivalent almost. Anyways, back to the video. So yes, so far we've got social media affects how we view ourselves. I think it's made us very vain. Our value no longer lies in friendship. It lies in attention and appearance. It has changed our friendship dynamics. And the very last part of I hope you guys are enjoying the video. I just wanted to add a little insert. I know I just listed out all of the ways that I thought that social media has affected the way we value friendship, but I realized it's a combination of how I feel like social media affects how we value friendship, but also how I feel like social media affects us, especially with the whole mental health part. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that I do, you know, realize that it's a mix of both. But yeah, enjoy. It was just kind of mental health. I know that social media has a huge effect on our mental health. I was doing research, just trying to like validate all the things that I was wanting to say in the video. I did come across a stat that said 61% of teens and adults feel lonely. Apparently there was this survey done by the Cigna US Loneliness Index. I'm not really sure how valid it is, but the article that I was reading sounded pretty valid, so we're just going to go with it. And it doesn't seem too far-fetched, but the sad part about it is if it is true, that's more than 50%, which is very overwhelming. So, and I think that part of it is because like the newest generation, Gen Z, I don't claim to be a part of that. I am a millennial. The newest generation, I feel like has become really socially anxious and like kind of socially awkward because they did not grow up in the same kind of environments that my generation, the millennials, grew up in. I think that like while we were growing up, you know, being outside and like really being active and making friends within the neighborhood, these kids and, you know, teens are growing up with iPads, which I did not have, which is why I don't identify with Gen Z, because that was not my experience. I'm sure I probably like back then would have loved to have grown up with a computer and an iPad, but honestly, I don't remember having my first email address till after 12. So it's like, I didn't really grow up with that. And I didn't have an Instagram until high school. So anyways, I don't like being called a Gen Zer. Because Gen Z did not, you know, do the same kinds of things that we did growing up as far as like developing their social skills, I think that it has stunted them a little bit and made it a little bit harder for them to go out and make friends. And I also think that social media has kind of warped our brains a little bit to believe that we have healthy social lives when we really don't. Because I feel like a lot of people feel like, okay, I have X amount of followers. I got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 followers on Instagram, but newsflash, followers do not equal friends. And I think we kind of get it mixed up a little bit because it's like when you really sit and think about it, who can you call? Yeah, you got 5,000 followers, but who can you call when you're in need? Who can you call when you're going through something? And this is a perfect example of like why somebody can have 1 million followers but still feel so lonely and contemplate suicide, because at the end of the day, like it's cool to say, oh, I have 10,000 followers, but it doesn't really mean anything in the, you know, grand scheme of things. And this is why it's so important to cultivate just really healthy friendships and bonds in like real life. So yes, we spent enough time on the problem, right? And like what could be interfering with our friendships. Let's spend some time talking about, like I said earlier, the solutions and how to find and maintain friendships as an adult. So let's talk a little bit about how I feel like we should combat it. I feel like number one, let's start with changing our values, right? Let's start by doing some introspective work and thinking about like our action. So let's be honest about what we've been valuing lately, which like I said is attention, likes, engagement, and let's shift back to what was valued before social media was a thing. I mean, I think it's conflicting because I think that social media is a great tool, but I also feel like it could also be a little detrimental, clearly. So, you know, I think it's good to have a balance. So let's, you know, still use social media because it's great, you know, especially if you have a business, especially it's even great for friendships, honestly, because sometimes we have friendships that are maybe long distance. And so it's really great for that. But I think that, like I said, it's great to have a balance. So, you know, use social media to connect with your friends that you know, normally don't really speak to, maybe friends from high school, college, but for the friends that are actually like active in your life currently, definitely make more of an effort to like reach out to them and plan times for you guys to meet up and actually create real experiences in real time. Be more conscious about how we fuel our social batteries. I know for me personally, I only have so much I can give in a day, right? As far as like interacting with other people. And because I work from home and I'm like talking to people and in meetings and all the things, I only have like a certain capacity for socializing every day. And so when I'm spending half of it working and then I'm spending the other half on social media, by the time the day is over, I don't really have anything left to give to my friends who may be calling me. And I ain't gonna lie, there's been some nights where I've just looked at my phone and watched it ring because I just don't have it in me, right? Instead of, you know, getting on social media whenever I'm bored or whatever, I try to be more conscious about that and, you know, try and spend more time whenever I'm bored texting my friends or calling them or FaceTiming them or, you know, just texting them like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Can we get together? And then reprioritizing how we spend our time, of course, which kind of goes with the point that I just made. And I can go off on a whole tangent on this one. You know, somebody explain it to me, maybe I can understand. When I get on social media, I'm doing like a scroll. I'm doing a scroll because I really got too much going on in my own personal life to even be caring about what other people have going on. But I am trying to, you know, see what's going on in the world, right? But one thing that I do notice is that under the Shade Room post, under the Baller Alert post, under post about these, you know, famous people or just people that are just completely out of our reach, I see a lot of just normal people commenting, giving their opinions, which, newsflash, another newsflash, they're not gonna see it. So I just feel like, and I've always wondered, like, how do y'all have time to, how do y'all have that capacity? Why do y'all think these people are gonna see it? Like, you could be spending this time doing other things, but you're commenting on somebody who does not know you or care about you. It's a little bit strange. Like I said, I can go off on a whole tangent about that because it's always been a little weird to me. Like, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've commented on like a Shade Room post, and that's because I actually forced myself, because I thought back when I first started my social media journey, like I thought that, oh, okay, this is me being more active or whatever, but like I said, somebody explained it to me. Anyways, so that is how I feel like you can fix it. Now let's get into actually finding friendship as an adult and keeping it. So the very first thing, before you even decide to start looking for friends, whether you have moved to a new city like I have, or, you're just trying to rebuild your circle, whatever the case may be, let's start with a little bit of introspective work, right? So ask yourself, are you the kind of friend that you want? Very important, right? Because we don't want to be looking for friends, but like we haven't done the work on ourselves. So for me, for example, if I'm asking myself, am I the kind of friend that I would want? What kind of friend would I want? I would want somebody who's trustworthy, who is honest, has integrity, is emotionally intelligent, is level-headed, accountable, kind, and knows how to communicate. Am I all those things? Absolutely. But also, ask yourself, okay, what are your friendship deal breakers? Just so before you even start talking to people, you already know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. So for me, I wrote down not being able to control your temper, irresponsible, someone who doesn't have morals, someone who is envious. I feel like, we'll have this conversation in another video. I feel like it's natural to feel jealous sometimes, but I feel like envy is a different thing. And I don't want friends who are going to be envious and like treat me bad because maybe they want what I have or like whatever. We don't want that kind of energy in our lives. And then, ask yourself, what do you want out of a friendship? I think that's super important. Do you want long-lasting friendships, or do you just want somebody to look cute and party with? You really need to figure that out before you jump into this, because finding friends is not easy. It's a process. And so if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're not going to do it in the right way. All right, so as far as getting started, right, that's what we're here for, how to find friends. Answers are gonna be kind of typical because it's only so many ways that you can find friends. So honestly, my main advice is to go places that you enjoy. And, I am trying to do more of that currently because I really want to like find my circle. I met a considerable amount of like girls down here. Finding friends is like dating, and everybody's not going to be your cup of tea. So like I'm trying to find like my solid, circle of friends down here. But in order to do that, I know I have to like get out and go places that I enjoy, because chances are if I do that, I'm going to find friends that, also clearly enjoy the same things that I do, which is what I'm looking for. I think you can also use social media to your advantage, but like I said, it's great to have some sort of a balance. So AKA Facebook, Instagram, Bumble, there's so many apps where you can find friends. Just try not to leave the conversation on these social media platforms. Definitely make effort to try to go, meet your friends or meet potential friends in person. Be open to friends in the workplace. That's another one. I have met a couple of really cool girls at my job. It's work friends are the best because you can relate to each other so much. You're going through the same things, experiencing the same things and people at the same time. So be open to that as well. And then unfortunately, and I hate this part of it, but you kind of have to, it kind of also relates to like the first thing that I said, is about like just going out to places that you like. You're gonna have to go out places alone, unfortunately. Honestly, I felt anxious about that at first. As time went on, it gets a lot easier. So, just plan little solo dates, and eventually it'll get easier. You'll meet people, and then that won't really be a thing anymore. All right, guys, so something actually happened to the footage of the end of my video, so I'm gonna have to re-record. It's a whole nother day, that's why I look a little bit different. But let's go ahead and get into some of the things that you can do and remember in order to maintain your new friendships. So the very first thing is remembering that finding friends, especially, and maintaining friends is like dating. And it is a process, sometimes a very long process, because there have been people that I've met down here that maybe we clicked at first, but then after getting to know each other for a little bit longer, we realized that actually we weren't that compatible. Like I said, it's like dating, it's trial and error. You have to go hang out, see how you guys vibe, and see if you guys can click long term. Like I've said throughout the video, when you've already, found your tribe, you just want to make sure that you are prioritizing spending time with them, talking to them on a regular basis, all those great things. And then my next point is kind of the same thing. It was just continue to make friendships a priority even after you are comfortable with them. So yeah, we've already talked about that. We won't go into detail about that. And then just the last little bit that I wanted to add was just the importance of community. So the overall solution for all of this craziness that we live in is just to cut back on the scrolling and make time for real relationship building, and it will add to the quality of your life. Friendships add so much support, love, and joy, especially when you need it. Because let's be honest, there are going to be times where life is doing its thing and you need people, you need community to lift you up and to speak life into you. So overall, like I said, I just encourage everybody to prioritize their friendships. Next couple of videos, we'll be kind of diving in deeper and talking about the different parts of friendship. So the last thing I just want to leave you guys with, I want to start adding questions at the end of my video, just so you guys can kind of be prompted to leave your thoughts, so we can have some conversation below. And the question that I had, well, it's not really a question, but it's just sit back and think about how social media has impacted your life and make changes. Wait, that wasn't a question. Okay. It was supposed to be a question. I have a question for my next video. But yeah, let's just chat about how you feel like social media impacts us, our friendships, just our, regular lives. And let's get into some things. I hope this video was enjoyable. I actually didn't need to make it so long, but I think it was some really great, valuable information. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.